For more analysis on APEC economies and reform, I spoke to Jeremie Cohen-Setton. He's a research fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics in Philadelphia. And I started by asking him how the region's economy is doing as a whole this year.
Asia Pacific has been performing pretty well throughout the year. So the IMF has that the region will grow by 5.5% for 2018, which corresponds to 60% of global growth. Now, this being said, the beginning of the year, the first half of the year had very fast growth, and he has shown signs of a slowdown recently. Related to the slowing momentum in China and in advanced economy, the rising trade tensions, and also the increased volatility in financial markets. So, these risks that we've seen for the second half of 2018 are going to be there as well in 2019.
Now, obviously, some of these global risks affect some countries in the region more than others. Who are the stronger performers, and which are the ones that are struggling the most in the region?
Well, I think in 2018, what was striking in Asia, but also throughout the world, is that it was a very synchronized year of growth. Pretty much every country in the region performed very well. Now, when it comes to 2019, obviously, if you have slowing momentum in China, then the countries that are most exposed to final demand in China are gonna suffer more. Similarly, if the trade tensions escalate, then between China and the U.S., then the countries that are more integrated with the Chinese global value chains are also going to be more affected than others.
And what do we know about how divided the Asia-Pacific region is when it comes to protectionism versus globalization in this U.S.-China trade war?
Well, I think the region is pretty united. I mean, it's true that if we end up with higher tariffs for Chinese exports, then it's true that some of the production is going to be relocated towards other Asian economies of the region. They're facing a U.S. administration that is not so much interested in reorienting production within Asia, but rather trying to reshore some of that production to the U.S. So, in a sense, it's not so much division between those Asian economies. It's more, the U.S. against, the rest of the world. And here we're talking about Asia.
Now, let's talk about trade connectivity in the Asia-Pacific. How does China's Belt and Road Initiative play into that?
Well, so I think you're completely right to emphasize the role of infrastructure in connecting different countries of the regions and different regions of the world. It was true in the 19th century when infrastructure was built within economies to connect different regions, and that had a great influence on trade within individual countries. And now, we're certainly seeing that happening for countries within the same region. Now, you're right to mention that China has been critical in this endeavor through the Belt and Road Initiative, but not only. It was also very important in establishing the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. This is an important process, and China is really leading here.
Now, let's also look at trade deals in the regions. We know that you have the Free Trade Area of the Asia-Pacific, or FTAP. Tell us a bit about how that's progressing and how that might work with other trade pacts like RCEP and also this modified version of TPP.
I think an important consequence of the U.S. America First policy is that the rest of the world has been doubling down on its liberalization effort. That's a welcome development. We've seen it between Japan and the EU entering into a free trade agreement. We've seen it with the ratification of the revamped TPP agreement. Now we're seeing other countries, namely South Korea and Indonesia, that are interested in joining the CPTPP. We're seeing also, more interest in RCEP. So basically, America First has been an important driver for this acceleration in trade integration within Asia.